That magic drug, Gleevec, that Elle spoke of, played a part in my life too, because just after they discovered it in 2002, my father was diagnosed with a very rare cancer called GIST, gastrointestinal stromal tumour. And this same magic drug that was showing promising results for chronic myeloid leukemia was doing some good stuff for people with GIST. Up until then, if you had GIST, you were in that same cell on death row. Chemo didn't work. Maybe you'd last 6 months if you were lucky. Gleevec wasn't available in Australia at the time, though. So we were trying to work out how we could get it for my dad. At the same time, I met a man that same week who would go on to become my husband. And 3 weeks after we met, he invited me to his sister's wedding. We moved pretty fast. And several Sauvignon Blancs into the afternoon, I found myself across the table, as you do, with some people I didn't know, and I was talking to a woman whose partner was a friend of the man who'd married my new boyfriend's sister. Not someone I ever would have met at any other time. And, you say, what do you do? And she said, I work for a pharmaceutical company. And I said, oh, great, you don't make Gleevec, do you? She goes, how on earth do you know what Gleevec is? Why have you heard of Gleevec? And I said, because my dad could use some. And she said, we need someone to go on a trial so that we can get it approved for the PBS for use in Australia. 5 weeks later, my dad, who'd been given 6 months to live, was back at work. And he lived for 8 years. He walked me down the aisle, met his granddaughter Amelia, and of course became firm friends with my husband. He also spoke at hearings around the country to make sure that that drug got put on the PBS, something my mother also helped with. And you can now see from Elle's story, as well as a lot of other people with CML and with GIST, the amount of difference that the research and the development of that drug has made. Now, in that shit year of 2016, I totally agree. My husband was diagnosed with a very rare form of cancer. Primary pulmonary synovial sarcoma. Don't worry, you've never heard of it. About 3 people in a million get it. Sadly, this time, there was no drug ready to try and no experimental procedure to do. And 18 months ago, we lost him. So that research that has been so successful for Gleevec and for so many stories out there can work miracles. And I know that one day there'll be a miracle, because Pete did undergo some experimental treatment that he hopes would help the next person who got what he had. And it is this research which is vital to unlocking the cure for cancer. And the fact that this function, this fight on the beaches, these wonderful women who put together this event are dedicated to research is a wonderful thing. And we need your money, and we need it now to make that happen.